All right, what's up, guys? True Combo here, and UFC Vegas 113 just wrapped up. And man, I'm gonna share my thoughts on the card that happened yesterday. And this card absolutely violated me in terms of betting, but I did go 10 for 13 on my picks. That was kind of booty, but it's okay. I'm not gonna be too mad. So we're just gonna talk about the fights, how they went, my thoughts, where it all turned into a disaster betting wise. And yeah, guys, let's just start with the first fight, Claudia Sagula versus Priscilla Cachoeira. This was a bit of a war, but I was just kind of doing something. I was kind of, I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of making food while this fight was going on, so I was kind of, peeking in and out of it. But people were saying it's a war. I did see it was a war. I just didn't know if Sagula won for sure or not. Some people were claiming robbery, but I saw Priscilla look like a freaking zombie out there. But apparently, when the fight ended, she did look like she was kind of on top throwing shots. But this was a freaking war. Claudia Sagula was my first pick of the night to win, so I was just mainly happy about that. But that's pretty much it. Those were my thoughts on that fight. I wasn't really paying attention. Second fight, which was this fight, was one of the most controversial moments of the card, which is crazy for the second fight. It was Jakub Wiklax versus Muin Gafurov, and man, Gafurov with the negative IQ play in the last few seconds of that third round. Gafurov was pretty much piecing up Wiklax on the feet. Wiklax is a bantamweight RDR, and he was just piecing him up on the feet, and then Gafurov decided on the last moments of the third round to throw a takedown at Jakub. And anytime Jakub was winning this fight, it was on the ground through the grappling. Slick grappler, by the way. And Gafurov decided to go for that takedown, and Jakub locked up a really tight guillotine. And right before the bell sounded, which I'm on the side that the bell rung after the tap, so I think he tapped for sure. So right before the bell rung, Gafurov was in the guillotine. He tapped with his left, and then the ref wasn't really seeing it, or he thought he didn't see it, but the ref saw it right before the ref saw him tapping. But right before the ref was about to stop it, he started tapping with his right, which is the side that the ref could see. And yeah, I mean, the bell had rung after that quick tap. Like right after that quick tap, the bell rung like a millisecond after. But yeah, I think he was under the impression that the fight was already over, so he was just kind of tapping for him to be like, yo, the fight's over, get off me. But he just timed it really incorrectly, man. And yeah, what a low IQ play, but what an apex moment, man. Anytime we get those weird freaking moments, it's always at the apex, like a Waldo Cortez Acosta situation with his eye poke. It's really unique to the apex. Kong Wang versus Eduardo Moro. This was a good fight. This was basically My Hero Academia at home, with Kong's red hair and Eduardo Moro's freaking Charles Oliveira platinum blonde hair. Great fight. Eduardo Moro, man, what a tough cookie, man. She was doing so good in the second round grappling wise after having a sketchy first round and then kind of having a sketchy third round. But Kong, I mean, she was so tough for surviving Kong Wang's choke at the end of the round with her blood coming out of her nose and all of that. What a scrap. A lot of the women, or honestly all of the women in this fight performed really well in terms of giving us wars. The fights in the women's divisions tend to be, I don't want to say boring, but they tend to be very much sparring matches, just tit for tat. You don't really see a lot of them doing damage, or at least inflicting damage like Kong Wang was, because Eduardo Mora looked like she fought prime Tony Ferguson. So seeing that fight was just crazy. But other than that, good on Kong Wang. That was another pick I got right. So the first four picks, which the fourth pick I'm about to talk about, I got right. So Javid Basharat was my fourth pick, and he fought Gianni Vasquez. He was supposed to fight Said Nurmagomedov, but that fight got canceled, so they called up Gianni. He missed weight, but it was a short notice fight. This was a bit of a scrap, man. Javid was doing really good in the first, and then Gianni hurt him in the second. And Javid was doing really good. I mean, he did what he had to do to win. And the Basharat bros in general, man, very slick, both grappling and striking. If they get the distance on you, they're very good at just picking their shots and just counter striking like crazy. But if you catch them, man, I think they're very finishable. They look really good and they're really well rounded. But the Basharat bros, I think they could be vulnerable to getting finished eventually, because anytime they get tapped, they do tend to get hurt. But man, anytime they face adversity, they really do come back. I love them, man. But good showing for Gianni, man. He did show that he deserves to be in the UFC. He is of UFC caliber at least. So I can't wait to see this guy, and hopefully he gets a full camp, and hopefully he doesn't miss weight anymore. But it was a short notice replacement. I mean, at less than a day, or a day probably, but it's still very short to cut all that weight. So let's not give him such a hard time. Good job on Gianni for, showing up, fighting, but then good job on Javid for really, fighting, accepting the fight with a late, minute replacement that lost weight and still won. So good job for both. Catlin Souza versus Bruna Brazil. I was kind of doing something during this fight. So I couldn't really focus. I would just say I would watch, and then Catlin Souza looked like she was doing good, but I don't know. People were saying that Bruna Brazil was having kind of a low IQ performance, but I can't really speak on the fight. I wasn't really watching it much. So good on Ketlin, even though that wasn't my pick. I picked Bruna Brazil to win. So yeah, those were my thoughts on that fight. So one of my other picks was Nikolai Veretennikov versus Nico Price. I really thought this was going to be more of a war, but holy crap, this was just more sad. I've never really seen a standing TKO, besides maybe that weird Steve Burgos KO that we got versus Edson Barboza. But nah, Nikolai Veretennikov just elbowed the crap out of Nico against the fence, to the point that just Nico was knocked out leaning against the cage. It wasn't even like there was a bit of life there. Like for a split few seconds, he was like out of it completely, as if he was stiff on the canvas, but he was just against the cage. It was weird. But Nico Price, man, I really feel bad for him. Apparently he has like 10 kids, and I don't know, to me, I feel like you're taking these fights just to kind of get by, and that's sad, bro. I really want to see, because Nico Price, I want to see, if you're gonna lose, I at least want to see a fight. And he was putting up a bit of a fight until he wasn't. And Nikolai Veretennikov, I thought he was gonna like sell and pull a ghillie, but nah, he came here to win for sure. He knew his job was, he knew what his job was. So yeah, good on job on Nikolai Veretennikov. I had him by finish in one of my bets, so I'm glad that hit. So let's get to the man that destroyed my freaking parlays, man. This guy, I had him by finish. I thought he was gonna just finish Alex Morono. And one thing about this fight night, there's two themes. At least one of the themes was across two fights, and the other theme was across a lot of fights. First theme, what is up with these referees, man? They want to see a dead body, man. I'm genuinely convinced that some of these refs bet on some of these fights to go to distance, because Daniel Doncheco it was just, I think it was just more of a respect thing, and he just didn't want to hurt Alex anymore. So sure, but Daniel could have just finished Alex in the first round if he just spammed leg kicks and just kept punching. And I genuinely would have thought that the ref would have stopped it, because Alex was not defending any of those shots. But nope, the ref let it kept going, and Daniel got this job, the job done by decision. But I was pissed because he could have just finished. Like, he was just clearly not. One, he was gassed, so that's bad. And he was just, I guess, I don't know if he was just doing it out of respect, but he could have just spammed leg kicks and got Alex out of there. So I was very, very pissed, because it was just one of those things where I'm like, yo, not even leg kicks. He could have just thrown either that or literally any looping shot. He was like, the first looping shot that he threw after this whole debacle was in like the last few seconds of the third round, and he hurt Alex. So if he just would have done more of that, been a little more wild, oh my god, he could have finished him. But he didn't. That pissed me off, but that's okay. I have a feeling he just gassed out because he was trying to finish him in the first. I'm pretty sure he was confident that he would have for sure gotten the finish in the third, but he got gassed. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He is like a welterweight Fiziev, man. He is a very slick striker, Donchenko. But if you're getting, look, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably got tired from trying to get the finish. But if that's actually his gas tank, dude, he's going to get whooped in the welterweight division. I don't care how slick your striking is, bro. You better get that cardio up, man, because you got some killers in the welterweight division. And I want to see him succeed more, but it just, with this performance, he pissed me off so bad with him not getting the finish. But I hope in his next fight he doesn't show up like that. He's a little more patient, and that he doesn't gas out. He got to show us that he doesn't gas out, because that's a problem. So the first theme that I referred to was the refs seeing dead body, or wanting to see dead bodies, and this is the second fight that this theme applies to, and that's the Dustin Jacoby fight. Now look, I had Dustin Jacoby by knockout, or not knockout specifically, but by finish, and I was hype. But at the same time, I was also really concerned for Julius, because Julius looked really good in the first round. Some people even argue that honestly, a majority of people would say that he won the first round. Justin Jacoby catches him with a right in the second, drops him bad. 2 follow-up shots, I would have stopped that, but no, the ref just wanted to see Julius die. I don't know if he had something against him or something, but yeah, that was weird. And when that happened, I'm just like, holy crap, these refs, man, they just want to see. They're Mario Yamasaki maxing, man. So good on Dustin, he got that knockout. Just wish maybe he did a little less, there did not need to be any more damage. Holy crap. But shout out Julius, man. I'm not a big fan of his fighting style, but I hope he comes back, and I hope he's healthy, man. Next fight, Farid Basra versus Gene Matsumoto. Man, this was such a good fight, but this is one of the toughest. Like, a lot of the times we see fights that are so obvious to score, like for example Jakob Wilklax versus Muin Gafurov, but knowing that Jacob Wilklax would have, they said this in the broadcast, even if, let's say, the guillotine wasn't counted as a tap, Jakob would have won that fight, which I don't understand. Gafurov was literally piecing him up 80-70% of the time in that fight. But yeah, I get with fights like that, it's like, yo, these fights are so obvious to score. How are these judges getting it so wrong? But with this one, Farid Basra versus Gene Matsumoto, I'm like, okay, this is one where if I was a judge watching it live, I would be stumped. But I do think Farid won. I think he won in terms of just edging him out by damage. He did get the better of him damage-wise, in my opinion. Anytime they would have some distance and Farid can work on his distance striking and really just piece him up a bit, Farid was getting the better of him in that kind of situation. But Gene, man, he was tough. He was in the fight. He would clinch him against the cage, level change, and then go up with some punches, and he was catching him pretty well. But Farid, I think with any shot that he landed, he was just doing more damage visually to Gene. When you get that visual damage, the refs, especially being told now to score fights based off damage, they're gonna think, okay, I think, hey, I mean, because I don't know if they get the counter, I don't know if they're told who has the more significant strikes in the fight. I'm pretty sure they're just visually judging it. So yeah, you can see why maybe some of them would have been swayed to go for Farid, but one of them had it for Gene. A lot of people thought Gene won. If it went to Gene, poor Gene, man, he's gone through before 3 or 2 straight split decisions that could have gone his way. But yeah, man, if it went Gene's way, I think I would have been mad. Even though I had Farid in my parlay, I would have been like, okay, it was a war. But still, man, it's unfortunate. But Gene should still definitely be in the UFC. Definitely still UFC caliber. Yeah, I think a good performance on both. It wasn't bad at all. And man, those people booing him in the Apex, man, like, he didn't deserve that. This guy put on a pretty good performance, bro. It's not his decision. I hate fans sometimes, man. All right, next fight, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Now, this fight, kind of like the Dano Donchenko fight, I was a little mad. I had Mikhail in my parlays to win by knockout, or in one of them as well, I had him by finish, or at least for this fight to not reach the third, but it did. But look, this was fight of the night, and honestly, I wasn't mad because Mikhail actually had reason to not rush to finish the fight, because Marc-Andre Barriault came in there to not play, man. Mikhail was, unfortunately, he did the mistake of playing into Marc-Andre Barriault's game and getting into that hockey style kind of dirty boxing exchange. And those type of exchanges, man, those are very risky exchanges, especially if that's not really your style. Especially with Mikhail, he's very much a kind of darts, not like a Kyoji, where he darts in and out, but he tries to find those straight, clean shots and really just tries to put you out. And especially, man, he just kept, for some reason, I don't know why, Mikal just kept, I mean, these shits looked like it hurt, but he just kept spamming these punches to the body, to the left side, or my bad, the right side of Marc-Andre Barriault. He was trying to get like a liver shot KO, but bro, like, he just kept spamming it to the point where Mikal was kind of catching him with his elbow. He was literally blocking that area, leaving his head open, and like Mikal rarely would go up to his head to fake the body shot and throw kind of like a weird looking straight. Like, he wouldn't do that. And I'm like, dang, like if you were to actually fake the body, go to the head, you could definitely probably knock him out, or at least hurt him. But great fight. Marc-Andre did not come to play. This was a war, this was a scrap. So I'm happy that it was a scrap. And yeah, Mikal Aleksejczyk, he looks pretty good, but I don't know, man. I don't know how you'll fare with the rest of the middleweights. That's a little scary. But other than that, we got, oh my god, the worst fight of the night, man. It's just like, nuke the whole division, man. Just nuke the entire heavyweight division.
Nuke the whole generation. If it were up to me, I would drop an atomic bomb on the whole generation.
And this fight was terrible. Jailton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev. Honestly, it's just funny. The only person I'm gonna talk crap about, I'm not even gonna talk crap about Jailton. He's the pacifist. He's doing the heavyweight run on a pacifist mindset, which, you know what, I'll respect, I guess. Rizvan Kuniev, man, I thought this guy, I had Jailton by decision because I thought Jailton was probably just gonna maybe smudge him. Okay, he didn't get the takedowns, he was trying, but Rizvan was just like, he would land some shots here and there, but he would just clinch up against the fence. This fight, I'm going to give you this fight in a nutshell. These guys are in the center. Jailton goes for a shot. They're against the cage. Okay, Rizvan turns him over, is clinching him, and nothing. Not even separating, landing the straight shots between the break. He'll sometimes do that. Not even. He did that like once in the fight. And that's it. Repeat. Fight gets broken up. They get taken back to the center. Or Jailton Almeida finds a way to separate, circle out. They go back to the center. Rinse and repeat. That is the whole fight. Holy crap. Nuke this division. Rizvan Kuniev, cut both. Or at least force Jailton to go to light heavyweight. Or give this guy... Send this guy to Thailand or something, because Jailton was actually landing some good shots in the center, even though he boxes like a rock'em sock'em robot. Yeah, just... oh my god, dude. Yeah, just nuke this entire division. I'm done talking about this fight. Co-main, a good fight. Kyoji Horiguchi versus Amir Albazi. First of all, hats off to Amir Albazi. He really did try to, he was really trying to be in that fight. But he was just making some decisions especially in that third round, because he was clearly losing this fight. Like I think in the first round, I don't know if this was a slip on Horiguchi's part, but Amir looked like he caught him. But a majority of the first and second rounds, Kyoji was just darting in and out. He was just too fast for Amir Albazi. He broke his hand in the first round, Kyoji Horiguchi did, and that's why he probably couldn't really commit to the finish. But I don't know if it was after the second. Yeah. So he still had that broken hand in the second and third round, and he was still piecing up Amir Albazi, man. But shout out to Amir Albazi. He really did try to stay in the fight, keep it standing, but then he decided to try and wrestle in the third. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna try and wrestle in the third, but you gotta like hop in his bag, go for a submission or something. But this guy was just kind of clinching. It just looked like he was just resting, and he really didn't want to get knocked out. And of course, that's a concussion. Nobody wants to get knocked out. So shout out to Amir for just really sticking it in there and really just committing to the fight, actually fighting. But Kyoji, man, it's his time. It's the story. He's gonna be flyweight champion, guys. I'm convinced that it just plot wise, he's gonna be flyweight champion. I really think he can be, or at least have a really good showing against Alessandro Pantoja, especially considering that they've trained together. And him versus Joshua Van would be a banger. I don't know how I feel about him fighting Tatsuro Taira, but that would be a good fight too. Especially it'd be like old versus like new generation of Japanese fighters. But I really just want to see Kyoji fight in Japan versus another opponent, and then Tatsuro Taira maybe fights for the title. I don't know, in Japan. I don't really want to see them fight each other. So yeah, great fight. Main event time. Mario Bautista beats Vinicius Oliveira. Wow, this guy turned into Prime Oliveira finally. Okay, good. Yo, hold on. Finally, Mario, you get a freaking finish. Yes. I had Vinicius Oliveira in this fight, and unfortunately I did make a bet that I thought this fight would go to the distance. Of course, Mario turns into prime Oliveira when I have money on him, but it's okay. Or at least on the fight, not on him. But it's okay. That is okay, because I mean, Mario just pretty much fraud checked Vinicius Oliveira. I mean, Vinicius, yeah, Mario was really fighting withered Patchy Mix, because Patchy Mix did so good. Or not did so good. He did better than Vinicius Oliveira in their last fight. And I think Mario Bautista practiced that Five Nights at Freddy's 2020 mode and got it down packed to fight Vinicius Oliveira, man, because he really showed out. He was really dominating in the first, and in the second, Vinicius was just already gassed, man. Like, oof, that is not good to see. I thought Vinicius would at least have a decent gas tank with at least to the fourth, considering that he's never been in the fifth, but to gas out in the second, brother. Normal fights at 3 rounds, so that concerns me for Vinicius's future. But yeah, Mario Bautista with just a really crazy transition into a rear naked choke to finish out the fight, and he actually got a finish. And I want to sit here and be mad because I didn't make any money on these fights, but I'm really glad that these fights turned out the way that they did, because I was afraid that the card had good names, but fight night wise, but I'm like, ugh, a majority of these could go to decision. But even the fights that did go to decision were fire. So great fight night. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What are your thoughts on these fights? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Also, let me know how you guys did in bets. Did it screw you like me? Did you guys make money? Let me know in the comments. And then this week we got Hernandez versus Strickland coming up, so my prediction video will probably drop around Tuesday, and then my official picks will drop around Friday. But other than that, guys, see you later this week. Peace.